So in this video, I want to go through my thoughts on crypto. It's something that I've not talked about, and I want to give my thoughts on it because I have a very different view on crypto than what most people in this industry have. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my exact investment plan, structure, whatever you want to call it, that is pretty much going to guarantee me at least $200 million by the point I retire. And that's based on pure maths, looking at the past 40 years of the market. So I will explain that at the end of the video. But first, let's jump into my exact thoughts on crypto. So something that I just said that I want to make this clear is that this is my thoughts. Right? I know there's going to be a bunch of crypto experts in the comment section of this video saying, oh my God, this, that, you don't know anything. It's just my thoughts, right? And my thoughts are, when it comes to investing of any kind, it should be passive. And I say that because I look at where I've made all my money so far, and this sounds so cringy and it sounds so typical. But the reason I'm able to, right now, as I say, I'm sat at around $150,000 to $170,000 per month, right? As accumulation with all my businesses. And the only reason I'm at that point consistently is simply because I've invested into myself and into my business, and I've put 90% of my time into myself and my business. That's it. And so now I'm able to hit, as I say, around 150 to 170 per month. And so when it comes to investing, my thoughts, at least at the point of this recording this video, obviously my thoughts change, I evolve, I change and whatnot, as everybody does. So maybe in a year's time, 5 years time, my thoughts may change on this, but currently as it stands, my thoughts is that investing should be passive, because quite frankly, I'm just never going to make as much money from investing as I am going to make from my businesses. It's just kind of how it's played out so far in my very, very, very short career. So as I say, 90% of my time is spent on my businesses. And so that's why I'm able to see $150,000 to $170,000 per month consistently. If I didn't spend all that time into my business and I spent it on crypto or something of that nature, right? Anything really, but obviously this video is kind of based around crypto because it's the big hype right now. If I spent all of that time on crypto, well, number one, I just wouldn't have as much money initially to invest. Right? Because if I didn't spend it on my business, then I wouldn't have any cash flow or that much cash flow or as much cash flow as I would have if I spent it on my business. So I wouldn't have as much to invest. So then the return would be on a much smaller number, which means I won't make as much. First things first. And the second thing is, the return I would get on crypto is nowhere near what the return is that I get on my businesses. It's just nowhere near, right? Like there's pretty much no way for me to make $170,000 per month consistently at around 75% profit margin every single month. There's no way I'd be able to make that amount from crypto. And if I was able to make that amount, I would have to put in a lot into crypto in order to make that amount. But I don't even know if it's possible, right? And I wouldn't have that much to put into crypto if I wasn't to focus on my business. And the other thing is that my business has a compound effect. So the more time I spend on it, the more I invest in it, the bigger it gets and the more consistent it gets. Crypto isn't really like that. Crypto's up and down and round and round, right? And so it's not passive, first of all, because as I say, you have to be focusing on it daily or at least weekly to be able to keep up with the new coins, what's going on. You have to research this, research that. Should you pull out? Should you put in here? I just don't have that much time. And as I say, it's not consistent. Whereas if I was to put that same amount of time into my business, my efforts are being compounded. It's not just a singular unit going in, right? Because it gets compounded over time. So then it grows quicker and then I make more money to then have more money to do what I want with. And the other thing is as I say, on the kind of the topic of compound interest, that is what I rely on when it comes to investing. This isn't investment advice, all that good stuff, right? This is just my thoughts and this is just what I'm doing. So as I say, on the topic of compound interest, that's what I'm relying on within my investment strategy so far. Again, this is only at the point of recording this. I'm not saying this is what I'm going to be doing forever, but right now this is what I'm planning and this is what I am doing. And so on the topic of compound interest, that's what I'm currently doing. So I'm actually currently just passively investing into index funds. That's it. The reason being is because, there's quite a few reasons. Number one, I don't have to think about it, right? And that is what I really, really like. I do not have to worry. I don't have to think. It just happens automatically. So currently the structure is, I've actually set up a trust. And so that trust basically is where all my investments go through. I've actually just bought a house as well. I don't really see that too much as yes, it's an investment property, but that's kind of more on the side, right? Basically that, I've got a video on my channel where I talk about the house. I'll link it in one of the corners. But as I said, I don't really see that as like an investment strategy. I mean, real estate is something I want to get into eventually, like at a bigger level. But that house, basically I put 100,000 down and I get around a 12 to 13% return on my investment per year. So pretty good numbers. And so as I say, back to the trust idea, that is where that all my investments run through, right? So the investment property was bought through there, and also my investing into index funds goes through the trust account. And so right now it's just all set up as a direct debit, right? It just automatically comes out. So money comes in through my company, and then it goes into my company account. And then from my company account, money then gets extracted into the trust account. And then from that trust account, that then goes into my index funds, as I say. And that entire process is like automatic, right? There's no input from my end. The only stage where there's input in that process is at the front end of the company making the money, which is why I focus at the front end and nothing else, because if the company doesn't make money, I can't invest. And so I focus on making sure that there's as much cash flow running through that process as physically possible, right? And so that's where all my focus goes. If then my focus started to split into the investment side, into the, further down the funnel side, then there's not gonna be as much money coming through. So while I may be able to get a couple extra % from my returns in terms of what I'm making from my investments, there's not as much money coming through, so then it's not compounding on as big a number, and then I'm eventually not gonna make as much, right? As if I just kind of sat with the industry average as a percentage return and just made sure that I'm pushing as much money as I physically could through the front end. In my opinion, that's how I'm gonna make the most, and I'm gonna show you how that plays out here in real life when I show you my actual investment strategy for retirement and how I'm pretty much guaranteed at least 200 mil by the point in which I retire just from this current investment strategy. That's taking in nothing else into account, right? Nothing else into account, just from this investment strategy. And basically what that looks like is that process there. Company makes money, goes into the company account. From the company account, money then automatically goes into my trust account. And then from the trust account, it goes into the investments. That's it. And so currently right now, there's 25,000 a month. That's my monthly injection into my investments, right? Which is again, just index funds, things like S&P 500, NASDAQ, right? That's it. Reason being is because of what I've got pulled up on the screen right here. So if we actually just have a look, right? S&P average return last 40 years. So the S&P 500 gained value in 40 of the past 50 years, generating an average, right? An average annualized return of 10.9%. So 10.9% over the last 40 years of the S&P. Sorry, the S&P has averaged 10.9% over the last 40 years. So if we now go into this compound calculator here, right? And this is literally the entire basis of my quote unquote investment strategy, which is the easiest thing on earth. So initial investment, right? Just say, for example, it's 25,000, because as I say, that's currently what I've got it set up as, right? So the monthly contribution that is automatically extracted through that process I just explained is 25,000 a month. Next is length of time in years. So like, how long do I plan to keep this structure going on for? Well, if we actually just look at, for example, the average retirement age, which by the way is kind of, why I'm doing this, right? It's not to make money tomorrow. It's basically to have a lump sum to retire with. Just from this investment strategy, again, this is taking in nothing else into account. Just from this, how long do I plan to save? Well, if we just look at the average retirement age in Australia, at least, you can see here, according to the ABS, the average retirement age for people aged 45 years and over is currently 55 and a half years old, which first of all, I think this is ridiculous that the average retirement age in Australia is 55 and a half. I think people should be working to at least 65, but for example, 55 and a half is it. So let's just say I retire early at 55 years old. So I'm currently 20, so that's an extra 35 years, right? So I plan to save this for 35 years so I can retire at 55. Estimated interest rate, well, that's based off of the last 40 years, so 10.9%, okay? Compound frequency annually, let's calculate this. So you can see, just based off of 25,000 a month for the next 35 years, right? Which by the way, I'll be retiring a lot later than this. And bear in mind, this number will be increasing very soon, and this will be a larger number. But just based off of these numbers, in 35 years, this will equal $101 million. And that may sound crazy, but we're just taking the facts. This is just based off of the market over the last 40 years. That's it. And on top of that, I have no input in this whatsoever. I don't have to be checking the markets each and every day. I don't have to be doing this. I don't have to be doing that. This just happens automatically without me even thinking about it. All I need to do is just make sure that money is coming in through the front end. As I say, the business is actually making money so that the trust can withdraw money from the business. That's it. And it's only 25,000 a month. Now, if we look at these numbers a bit more realistically, as I say, the monthly contribution will be going up. All right, I think it will go up to around 75,000 a month here pretty soon, just because I'm very long term. So I'd rather not have the money now. So I'd rather take more now so I'm better in the future, right? So I think it will be more around 75,000 here pretty soon. But then obviously as I, keep growing older and older and older, I'm going to make more and more and more and more. So each month I'll be able to contribute even more. So this will probably average out to be, I don't know, maybe 200,000 a month. But let's just say 75,000 a month, right? And then we look at length of time in years. As I say, this is based on me retiring at 55, which is the average, which I wouldn't be retiring at 55. It will be more around 65, 70 at the earliest. So let's just say this goes to just minimum 45. Now let's have a look at that. Well, now you can see here, right? $862 million. And these are based off of very conservative numbers. And as I say, the estimated interest rate is based on the last 40 years, right? This is nothing crazy. Like 75,000 a month may sound a lot, but if you're able to pull in 500,000, a million a month, 75,000 is just a drop in the pool, right? Drop in the ocean. It's nothing. And the length of time is very average, right? That would be me at what, 65 years old, which is when I would look at retiring. There's $862 million. So that is my investment strategy, at least at the point of recording this. Things can change and whatnot. And as things change, I'm more than happy to update you guys if you're interested in this type of content, because obviously it's content I don't usually talk about or usually post. But that's my investment strategy so far, because it's just based off of facts, it's based off of math, it's based off of history, right? The best way to predict the future is by understanding the past, right? And after the past 40 years, S&P, for example, has averaged 10.9%. There's a bunch of other index funds as well, which do better and which do worse. But that's what I'm going off of. And the biggest reason is because, well, number one, the long-term game, which is all I play. I don't care about this month. I don't care about next month, right? I only play the long-term game. One of the biggest things that I push to all of my customers is don't think in 5-month stints, think in 5-year stints, right? That goes for 10-month stints and 10-year stints, right? It's just the best way to think. In my opinion, it's the best way in which you'll be able to actually grow is by virtue of thinking long-term, right? What's best for next year, not what's best for next month, because most of the time, what's best for next month is actually going to harm you next year, right? So this is kind of, as I say, this is my thought process on investing. I think crypto is amazing. People make a bunch of money with it, but I also know the time in which they've invested into that return that they've been able to generate was a lot. And at the moment, that time for me personally is better invested in my business, because it's going to make me more money than what the return would be from crypto. Whether it will be next month, make me more money next month, or next year, it will make me more money because my efforts inside of my business are compounded, right? And you've just seen there the black and white of compound efforts, compound interest. I mean, 75,000 a month for the next 45 years is $862 million. Is worth that, right? And I don't know what actually the investment is itself. So I've just done some math there. If my math is correct, I believe you're gonna be putting in 40.5 million, right? That's how much you'll invest over the 45 years, putting in 75,000 a month. I believe you'll put in 40.5 million. And the return, as you can see on the screen, is 862 million, which equals a 21x ROI. I mean, I don't think you'll find a much better return than that, right? Over a long period of time. So as I say, that is my investment strategy. That's my thoughts on investing. That's my thoughts on crypto. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. I think a lot of people disagree with this video, because I know a lot of people are super hot on crypto, and it's not that I'm not hot on it. I don't believe in it or anything like that. Nothing to do with that. I think it's awesome. But for me right now, at the point in which I'm at, what I've explained in this video is my thoughts. As I say, things always change, and as they do change, I will be sure to keep you updated. If you enjoyed this content, right? If you want me to post more about this stuff, I'm more than happy to. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment the word investing in the comment section, just so I know that you watch this video all the way through. It's super good to see those of you who actually are able to stick around and watch through the entire video, because it's you who are able to pull the most amount of value from these videos. With that being said, hope you enjoyed my take on crypto, and I will see you in the next video.